Backside.
Push. Bro, I'm so crisp right now, bro. It's crazy.
Why can't I be crisp like that?
It's the mouse. It's the mouse.
Yo, what kind of mouse you got? Yo, let me borrow it.
Alright. If you work at Razer, just please sponsor me. But Razer Viper V3 Pro.
Is that the new one?
Yeah, the new
I actually
one.
work at Razer, bro. I'm actually the CEO.
Oh shit, bro. Please send $1 million to my house right now, bro. So I have been using the Razer Viper V3 Pro for the past week in both day-to-day Twitch modding and gaming in Valorant and Aim Labs. And this is my full week review of the perfect yet imperfect mouse. Okay, first, let's talk about the coating of the mouse. So the coating by itself, it is one of the best coatings I have used on a gaming mouse. It's very sticky, especially in game when your hand is a little bit moist or sweaty. Actually, the sweatier your hands are, the grippier the mouse becomes. As you can see here, I was able to lift the mouse up with only 3 fingers because my hands were sweaty and the mouse was warm. Compared to when I just washed my hands with soap and dried them, my hands would just slip over the mouse and it was impossible for me to lift it with 3 fingers. And now let's talk about the difference in the white and the black coating. I ordered my units from Amazon on the day they released, so mine are production/released units. And I can confidently say that the white and black have different coatings, especially when you have very, very dry hands or you just washed and dried your hands. I reached out to a Razer team member on Twitter and she confirmed that the white version have an extra layer of UV protective agent to help prevent it from yellowing over time. So the coating can't necessarily be the same. So when your hands are dry, the white version is definitely more of a smoother and slipperier experience compared to the black's more rubbery, textured, and rough coating. Here is a sound test to prove that I'm not crazy. As you can hear, the white one sounds more smooth and the black one sounds more textured and rough. And in game, since I have super sweaty hands, they were both extremely grippy and I could perform well with both the white and the black units. And I was not able to tell a difference in game. And if you have super dry hands, I would prefer you go with the black version instead of the white. And now let's talk about shape and different grip styles. It has a very, very safe shape, feels very wide in hand, especially the bottom part of the mouse flares out a little bit more to give you that wide sensation. Here is a straight line test where I station my wrist on the mouse pad and flick as far left and as far right as my wrist allows me and see how straight the line drawn using the mouse is. The hump is located at the back center of the mouse, so not exactly center but leaning towards the back, and it has an aggressive taper towards the bottom. So it depends on your grip style, you might or might not feel the hump entirely. For my claw users, both aggressive and relaxed, where your palm or bottom of your fingers rarely touch the mouse, you will not feel the hump as much as, let's say, a palm grip user. And talking about different grips, if you use a fingertip grip, I would suggest you to look elsewhere unless you have super large hands. So this mouse works best for claw grip and palm grip, especially claw and palm grips where your wrist is on the mouse pad instead of hovering over it because of the side button positionings. Now let's talk about one of the most disappointing part of the mouse, the side button positionings. As I mentioned, the positioning of these side buttons are definitely the worst part of the mouse and what's holding it back from potentially being the perfect gaming mouse. The side buttons are positioned very far back from the tip of the mouse. So if you have a grip where you hold towards the very front of the mouse, and in this grip your wrist is most likely hovering over the mouse pad and not making contact, then in this grip you are going to have a difficult time reaching for the back side button. So if you have this forward wrist hovering grip and you use both of the side buttons a lot, for example Fortnite or utilities in Valorant, then this mouse is just not for you. If you have a very centered or lean back grip where your wrist is most likely touching the mouse pad and resting on it, then you will not have too much of an issue with the back side buttons positions. However, I'd still like to see the side buttons to be moved a little bit forward on future batches. Even though I have a very centered grip, I still have to reach very far back to get to the backside buttons. Although it is not a problem for me in Valorant, it just might become a problem when I have to spam the backside buttons if I was playing Fortnite. Now let's talk about the weight of the mouse. On my scale, the black one comes in at 54 grams and the white at 55 grams, exactly as Razer advertised, so good job Razer. The weight balancing is very even and it feels lighter than the numbers on the scale. And with a very even weight distribution and large bottom surface area, the mouse moves effortlessly in hand. Compared to, for example, a mouse with the same weight but smaller bottom surface area and more centered weight distribution. This lightweight sensation can both be a plus or minus for your use case. If you play a very tracking heavy game, you will feel amazing, especially paired with a faster mousepad surface like an Artisan Heian. However, if you play a very slow-paced game like Counter-Strike or Valorant, where you're required to hold an angle for a long time and be very stable, you lose that stable sensation that comes with a heavier mouse. But this can be fixed and improved by using a slower surface mousepad like a Zowie GSR QCK Heavy or the up-and-coming Artisan Type 99. So if you play games like Apex, you will love the weightless and free feeling. But if you play tac shooters, just make sure to pair with a slower and more controlled surface. Since we were talking about how the mouse feels on different mouse pads, let's talk about the stock skates. I had no problem with the stock skates, but I did need to break them in just like any other stock skates. At first, they were more controlled and slow, but after playing for a while, they became faster. But they still don't compare in speed with aftermarket skates such as core pads. I had no problem with them in game, so I will not be in a hurry to replace them, but I can't say the same about some other mouse. And now let's talk about the clicks. These clicks are another reason why this mouse is not the perfect mouse for me. First of all, they are on the lighter side of things. And as a Valorant player where I want to be tapping and single clicking instead of spraying and spamming, I would prefer something a bit heavier. But if your game needs a lot of spamming and spraying, then you will absolutely love these clicks as they are lighter. And if you click towards the very front of the main buttons, then there are some post travel. And if you click anywhere else on the main clicks, then the post travel is very minimal, and these main clicks do not have any pre-travel at all. The side button clicks feels almost identical to the main clicks, and if you press the edges of the side buttons instead of the center, it can feel a bit mushy, and again, they do not have any pre-travel but some post-travel. These scroll wheel clicks are honestly the best I've ever felt. They are very tactical and crisp, and I would recommend if you use the scroll wheel buttons a lot. And here is a sound test of all of these clicks. Now let's talk about the build quality of the mouse. This mouse is built like an absolute tank, no creaking or no rattling at all. However, I did only use it for a week, so I will update the build quality later down the road when I have used it for longer. So stay tuned for a long-term review of the mouse on the channel. Now let's talk about performance and comfort. With the hyper pulling rate dongle included out of the box and the Razer tech that's inside, you can probably guess that it performs just as it should, top tier. Sensor is flawless, I don't need to say more, and it was very comfortable to play with for long periods of time with my claw grip. I streamed for 6 hours grinding ranked Valorant with this mouse, and I had no issue with performance and comfort at all. By the way, I stream at twitch.com/userflynn almost every day. Come check out the ranked Valorant grind. Now let's talk about the software. It is very standard with liftoff distance, power saving mode, DPI and pulling rate adjustments up to 35,000 DPI and 8,000 pulling rate. And you can adjust the DPI in steps of 1. Let's talk about the sensitivity matcher feature. This was honestly the best part of the software as it can help you match the almost exact DPI as your other gaming mouse. Because of DPI deviation in between mice, this feature comes in very handy. Before using this mouse, I was using the Logitech G Pro X Superlight 2 and I was on 1600 DPI in the Logitech G Hub software. And when I just started using the Viper on 1600 DPI, my aim felt a little off. So I used this feature to match my Superlight's DPI, and the actual DPI was around 50 DPI on the black and 70 DPI on the white, lower than my Superlight's 1600 DPI. This feature was very easy to use. I just needed to connect both of the mouse to my PC and make sure they are both turned on. And you just glide them side by side from left to right, and the software will just give you a new DPI rating that matches the other mouse. It might not be perfectly accurate, as I get tiny bit different results every time, but I just do it multiple times and take a reading that seems average. And I can definitely feel that my aim felt more consistent after I did this matching, so I would recommend doing this as well. And they have this new auto switch pulling rate in-game feature. I didn't really use it as I couldn't test how reliable this feature is, so I just kept mine on 4000 Hz pulling rate at all times. Now let's talk about the battery life of this mouse. So Razer advertised 95 hours at 1000 Hz, 62 hours at 2000 Hz, 40 hours at 4000 Hz, and 17 hours at 8000 Hz. I ran both of mine on 4000 Hz and battery life wasn't an issue for me. But if you run yours at 8000 Hz, you're probably going to want to plug it in every night. Let's mention some of the pros that are currently using this mouse. So first of all, we have Sentinel's Zekken, who used this mouse during their championship run at VCT Madrid while the mouse was still unreleased. And some other pros that are using this mouse includes NRG Marved and DRX Buzz. Now in conclusion, it's another top tier mouse from Razer along with their Viper V2 Pro and Des Other V3 Pro. Who is this mouse for? Claw and palm grip users with a centered and back leaning grip if backside button spamming is needed. Most hand sizes are suitable. Unless you have extremely small hands, then I would suggest something smaller. It's also best suited for tracking and spamming heavy games, something like Apex Legends, Overwatch, or arena shooters. It still performs awesome in tech shooters, just not as good as it performs in arena shooters. And if you play League, then I guess it's also fine. Clicks are very spammable. It's an almost perfect mouse with bad side button positionings and very light clicks. If you're deciding between this and the G Pro X Superlight, I will have a comparison video on the channel. Make sure to check that out. Do I think Razer did a good job on this mouse? Yes. But do I think this mouse is perfect for me? No. If Razer is watching, if you could improve the side button positionings a little bit on the newer batches, you just might have yourself the perfect gaming mouse. If you enjoyed this review, please subscribe to the channel and check out the links in my description. I have the comparison video with the popular Logitech G Pro X Superlight 2 scheduled next on the channel, so stay tuned for quality videos just like this one. Peace. Oh! Oh! Wait, I'm crazy. Wait! Wait, I'm crazy! Wait, I'm crazy. Wait, what?